Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, we're another spooky movie episode of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, who's playing with puzzle boxes with me tonight.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Albertin.
And hey, everybody, it is the angel to some, annoyance to most, Kenneth Sanity.
That's a good opening. So we are here to talk about a movie I never thought I'd be watching, but here we are. HellRaiser, directed and written by Clive Barker, came out in 1987 in London.
87 when? Were you born?
No, September 10th. I wasn't alive yet.
I wasn't alive yet. I know, right? I guess I was 5.
And it's important we should say that this is based on Clive Barker's novella, The Hellbound Heart.
Is that what it was called?
I didn't
I didn't know what it was called.
No, I didn't know it was a novella until about 5 minutes ago when I was reading up, when I clicked the link for Clive Barker.
I did.
Yep. It's actually pretty good. Much different than the movie.
That makes sense. I mean, certain things just, don't translate well when in a written word versus a movie, like having hanging dongs on a torture platform just don't work the same.
Oh, boy.
So,
we're already going there. Spoiler alert.
There were. I'm sure those are dicks hanging on that torture thing. I was like, those look like dicks.
I was like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I didn't look that closely.
I was, just to see.
I'm surprised you. Why did you notice that?
Because Ken had made a comment before we did this about this being a horny horror movie after Silent Hill. And I was like, I'm going to pay attention.
Yeah, I'm going to be completely honest with you. This is probably one of the horniest horror movies that exists.
Yeah, because you had talked about it.
I
God,
didn't pay close enough attention, so explain.
We will. Or he will.
Trust me, I will.
Oh, trust.
Because when we were in Boston, I bring that up again. There was a woman who was cosplayed as one of the Cenobites from HellRaiser, and she was just wearing kind of scantily clad a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, Ken's right. This is horny horror movie.
Super horny.
Yeah, female Cenobite, but it worked.
She was a female. The male, she was female version.
Yes.
Okay, but it's not the same.
It's a Cenobite.
It's not the same.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess the newest horror movie, is it a female that's the lead?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
And
I have no
that
interest.
actually comes from the book. The original Hell Priest, as it were. It was written to be more androgynous than, more male or more female.
Okay.
Have
And-
you seen that, Ken?
I have seen every single one of the 11 Hellraiser movies.
Oh, frack.
Fuck, that's a lot of
Holy
movies.
cow. How did you like the new one? I haven't seen it yet.
I really enjoyed the new movie.
I don't know, because is it a continuation or a remake? Let's go there.
Essentially a reboot.
A reboot. Okay.
Yes.
I think
Doug Bradley was not involved in this at all. He did like Jamie Clayton's performance, though.
Oh, good.
That is on
warming
record.
up to it more because she was. So let's go there.
I mean, ultimately, and it works because Hellraiser as a series, at least this first movie, has always been about the unending pursuit of pleasure. Like just finding new experiences, exploring pleasure as an experience, as a full-on lifestyle.
Yes.
It's basically Hedonism the musical without music.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, that goes along with all the pictures that you see at one point of Frank.
Yeah. Oh, Frank. So before we get too much further, let's kind of go into a plot rundown here. Frank Cotton is your basic garden variety hedonist. He's looking for pleasure at any cost. And unfortunately, he does find out that some doors should remain closed in a search like this. Years later, or some unspecified time later, his brother moves in to his house, his brother Larry, with his second wife, Julia, and daughter, Kirsty. Unfortunately, Frank is not quite ready to give up his search for pleasure, and horrible things go wrong.
Oh, they do.
So where does he find this box?
It never, the country to me looked like an Asian country. Is I think what they were going for.
How did it look like an Asian country?
It was just the way, well, it also reminded me of Raiders of the Lost Ark or something of that nature. It was just the way that things are outside in the room.
Now, what you're saying is reminding you of Raiders of the Lost Ark is actually pretty close. Frank Cotton buys the box in Morocco.
Okay.
You're just talking about the box?
Just the where the guy gets the box, you see him in that initial scene sitting at a table.
Oh, I thought you meant like where they were living.
No. Just
okay, I was like, I am so confused.
yeah, that initial scene.
Okay, now I
Okay.
now I really. I was so confused for a minute. I just woke up. Leave me alone. And Mike abruptly woke me up. It's time to podcast. Get away from me.
Yeah, that's accurate. That's what happened when you record in the morning. But I just thought it was an interesting way. I mean, and that's cool that it is Morocco. I didn't realize it was Morocco. Maybe it said it. I wasn't paying enough attention. I was just like, why am I watching this? But that was partly going through my head.
Fair enough.
But I didn't say Morocco, did it?
No.
Okay. That's cool. Then I just apparently watched enough movies and knew what 1980s
obscure movie or
Asian country would look like in a way. Morocco's Asian, right? Or is that more
African?
Okay. It's Morocco's in Egypt, near Egypt, right?
Yeah, it's on the ocean, northwestern Africa.
Okay, so African, but it would be Morocco's not a country I think about very often.
I don't know my geography.
But I knew where it was, sort of. So hey,
it should be. So many James Bond movies take place there.
Yeah. Are you that big of a James Bond?
No, but I do like James Bond a lot. Certain ones.
He doesn't like James Bond.
My wife.
Unfortunate.
I like the James Bond girls. Is that?
That can work. So I actually realized I have never seen a Clive Barker movie before or covered one on the show or anything Clive Barker.
Oh, there are a lot of Clive Barker movies.
Was that a bad question?
Just a lot of horror movies. Well, and Candyman. He did Candyman.
Candyman.
Did he?
Based on a Clive Barker story from Books of Blood. Lord of Illusions was based on a Clive Barker story from Books of Blood. Rawhead Rex was based on a Clive Barker story from Books of Blood. Nightbreed was actually based on a book by Clive Barker called Cabal. There's a lot of Clive Barker.
Do a poll on Clive Barker.
I don't think I want to watch any of these movies.
You think you had a...
No, I never seen Candyman.
I know. I've seen Nightbreed, or that sounds familiar. Is that the one where he has a bad relationship with his mom? Is that one?
The one. I haven't seen Nightbreed in so many years. Honestly, it's been too long.
An inappropriate relationship with his mom. And it's the dude from Charmed, I think. I don't recall. Anyways, people are going to tear me apart.
Don't tear Tiff apart, people. If you're going to say anything in the comments, tell us what movie that is, because
they're like Google. Okay, let's just.
I don't think it's Nightbreed, but
I don't think it is either from what I'm reading.
No, all I have to do is see the. Oh no, I know which one it is. Nope, that's not.
Okay, so the way like Hellraiser opens up, like
it looks very.
When you see this cube, it got my attention. I mean, I had known a little bit about this, and I think the next first scene you see is Frank opening the cube.
Yeah,
and that's when you see him start getting. I think you see all the hooks. You see a hook go into him, and then you see the Pillar of Doom, and they're picking up his face.
Yeah, yeah. Like they have fun. They have fun with Frank. Frank has fun theoretically, and you first see the Cenobites. You see two of the Cenobites, I think. Only the female and male Cenobite.
You don't see Doug Bradley though. I don't think.
No, you do
for a second.
You do for a second.
Okay,
but it's interesting that Pinhead was never supposed to be the name. Pinhead was just something that stuck.
Okay.
A description.
Yeah, like the script is lead Cenobite.
Well, I mean, none of them really have names, do they?
No.
Anybody name any of the other ones?
Nope.
No, just Pinhead?
Well, no. That's not true. The other ones have gotten names. The female Cenobite was referred to on set as Deep Throat. The one with the exposed teeth, Chatterer, and the fat boy is Butterball.
Oh, yeah.
The Chatterer looks like Nemesis from Resident Evil movies, sort of.
Chatterer is my favorite Cenobite.
I like him.
Out of all of them.
I like him. I don't know why. I really liked him because when he started to chatter, I'm like, oh, here it comes. Here it comes.
I think it's just because I have a problem with teeth. I don't like teeth.
Oh,
okay.
But at the same time, it's just like, yeah, I don't like teeth, but I could dig this. Like this, if this was coming after me, I'd be fucking horrified.
Well, that's super weird because now that you say that, I don't like cleaning dentures. I'm like, what? Cleaning all that food out of dentures, I'm like, what? But I still like that character.
I mean, it wasn't trying to make you clean them. That wasn't going to be the nightmare.
I don't have to clean them. Oh, now I have nightmares about cleaning his teeth. Thanks a lot.
I think it would have been more, I'm going to murder you.
Cleaning flesh out of his teeth. Great. That's disgusting.
But I was paying a lot of, like I said earlier at the top of the show, I was paying a lot of attention to that whole room. And there's just a lot of weird shit, just like body parts just all over the place. That's when I saw the two dongs just hanging there.
We can't see the word.
Again, dong sounds funnier than dick.
Yeah, dong is a universally hilarious word.
It was just two of them just hanging there. I'm like, yeah, someone didn't have a good day.
So yeah, anyway, now's a great time to talk about the horniness of this fucking movie.
Yes.
So this movie, oh my god, the original shooting title of this movie was called Sadomasochist from Beyond the Grave. That was the shooting title. They had to change it because the original title was going to be The Hellbound Heart, but the studio was like, no, that sounds like a romance. Get out of here. So they open up the floor to a bunch of people, and apparently a 60-year-old female crew member wanted to call it What a Woman Will Do for a Good Fuck.
That sounds like a porno, though.
Is this movie not?
I mean, that flat out sounds like a porno, okay? Like, flat out should be X-rated. And
well,
I mean, it would have got people to see, so I can guarantee you that.
Originally was.
Was it? I was going to say, it's a little borderline. What did they have to cut out?
Oh, they had to cut out a lot. They had to cut out a lot of the violence. They had to cut out some scenes. Julia, Larry's second wife, had an affair with Frank right before the fucking wedding.
Oh, yeah.
But you see that in this movie.
You do see that in the movie, but there were a lot more explicit sex scenes in this.
I need to talk about this.
Like there was some straight up sodomy scenes.
Oh, okay. You don't get that a lot in movies.
No, you don't.
Not in 87.
And there's a good reason for that. That why, you don't get a lot of them is because they make you cut them out, apparently.
No, it's fine. I'm just
no.
looking at it.
You can. They picked that Frank piece to piece. You can pick this movie piece to piece too.
This is a stupid sex scene because she was wearing a romper and he's still fucking her. I know, it was stupid. I told you it was stupid.
Look, okay, I get it, but also Homeboy had a knife. And like you can cut things.
Split it down the middle.
Good.
You just cut a romper. Like, we'll just put a hole right here so I can fit.
I'm like, he's just dry humping her at this point. And she's like, oh, Frank.
Now, the question you should be asking is, was that necessary to get past the censors?
Maybe. Well, they could have had panties on. I think I'm upset.
It's 87.
Because it's a romp, so she couldn't have had panties.
I don't know. They were more about sex in the 80s, weren't they? Against it.
Yeah, they were very much against.
Do we
remember
Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th with little
I don't remember Friday the 13th
co-eds running around half naked?
Yes, and what happened to all of them?
They died.
Exactly. They were fine with sex as long as people were being punished for engaging in it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because as a society, I mean, we're better now, but we still are very much like sex bad. Killing people with guns, good.
Well, America is bad on that. Every other country is much better than America when it comes to the subject of sex. Sex is something that happens, whether you want to acknowledge it or not.
In a certain way, as long as it's a certain way. I feel like you still can do certain things.
Yes, but
I mean, you can. You just can't talk about them.
I mean, in movies, you still can't do certain things. That's what I meant.
That is true.
That's what I meant. I mean, we talk about what we do all the time. Not on this podcast.
We are not going to.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is a new podcast that I...
After Dark.
am fucking here. Yeah, join us for Games of Monpound After Dark.
After Dark. Stay tuned.
I'm not making that.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are. Now you are. Let's do it. Woohoo.
Patreon exclusive, baby.
It would be then.
It's great.
So a lot of this movie is based on a lot of the horniness comes from Clive Barker, who is very much interested in the intersection between horror and sexuality. And like we just said about Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, there very much is that intersection between there. Because, you know, sometimes when you've gotten a good scare, all you want to do is have sex. Like, Speed made this point perfectly. Yeah,
Yes.
the movie about the fast bus.
Yes, I had to think for the movie about this fast bus. I had to think for a minute. I knew the movie, but I had to think what you were talking about, and I was like, yes, he's correct.
Yeah, there's a whole scene in Speed where Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves are talking about, you know, being involved in a life-threatening event and how it makes you all horned up. And some psychologists will say, you know, there's nothing more that you want to do than engage in something lively, proof that you're still alive after an event like that. And what better way than fucking?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Let's make a baby.
No.
That was rude. You didn't have to say it like that, Jesus.
You got 4 babies right there.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Got 3.
The interesting thing about Clive Barker, and another reason that this movie may have come under fire as much as it did, is Clive Barker is very, very famously a gay man. Worked very hard for, you know, very outspoken about gay rights, about so many things in the world of, you know, sexual behavior. Not only just, you know, homosexual, but also, you know, heterosexual. They're very involved in the kink communities, and you can see that in the designs of the Cenobites.
Yeah, definitely.
They are very, very kink heavy. And the Cenobites are basically just what happens when you take that S&M fetishization, always a bitch of a word to say, but when you take that to the extreme. And you can see that nowadays with, you know, the kink of the piercing kinks, like that people walk around every day looking like low-grade Cenobites.
You're not wrong.
I mean, myself, I have an eyebrow piercing. I have 2 lip piercings. And did I get enjoyment out of those piercings? I did. That's why I have tattoos, because I enjoy it. It's that relationship between pain and pleasure that this movie really, really explores, or at least finds itself based in.
Yeah, no, that's definitely fair. I didn't really think about, I mean, I should have thought about it. I didn't think about that, but yeah.
I mean, no.
Except you never see any sexy fun time happening for Frank. You just see terrible things happening
No,
for Frank.
once he, like, the first scene, he's pretty much like, oh, yeah, baby.
Yeah, it didn't last too long.
I don't, but then he's like, ah!
I mean, I wanted to see the deep throat going down on him. Then I'd been like, okay, like, and then all of a sudden they start killing him. Like, you know, that would make
the
sense.
flesh tearing apart.
Yeah, first you get
Okay.
sucked, then you get murdered. Yeah.
That actually makes me want to look up if there is a HellRaiser porn
Parody
parody.
I would not be surprised. I'm sure there is.
I bet there is.
I mean, honestly, there should be.
Oh, let's see. What would it be called? Raise his hell?
Apparently, it's called Cockraiser.
I was kind of close. Not really.
I didn't. So right after you see Frank and he disappears for a while, and they never do say how much time passed in this movie when they come to the house. But
No.
I mean, they use stuff to kind of tell like the house is a mess. You see the kitchen that's just disgusting.
Yeah, there's food rotted everywhere. That doesn't happen overnight. So.
No, that takes a while to get it that bad with maggots and everything.
But we don't know how bad it was before Frank left. Like, it could have been like a week away from that. We don't know.
It never really says. I mean, I thought it was interesting when they first start showing like Frank's stuff, and he has all these pictures of these women he's been with, and one was a bondage scene too, where she's hogtied.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, movie, I see what you're going for.
Yeah.
I was like, yep, horny movie.
Totally horny.
Yes.
And, oh, God, it gets weird.
I mean, it's weird in the first.
Oh, it got weird in the first place, but this movie just gets progressively weirder as it goes along.
Yeah, it wasn't what I expected, because we had watched part of this movie a couple years ago, or at some point you put it on, Tiff, and you're like, you started watching it, and you're like, okay, I'm bored, and then we turned it off, and I'm like, good, I don't want to watch it anyway.
I didn't. I think sometimes when it doesn't get to the gore right away, I'm like, okay, I'm done.
I was okay with that. I didn't want to watch it anyway. So I was like, yeah, cool. We can be done. Bye. And we got to the part before Frank shows up.
Yeah.
I don't like horror movies. You know this.
He's like, I'm fine because he kind of knew what happened.
I wasn't thinking what happened.
I'm disappointed because you get upset if they don't get to the gore? Come on.
She wants more action or just something, I think. I think there's just a little bit too much of just stupid lady walking around the house being, I'm a prim and proper lady, but I fucked my husband's brother.
Okay, but that's like super important.
It is, but I don't know. I don't like Julia. I don't like the actress in this movie at all, especially in the beginning.
Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, that is unfortunate because I think she's amazing.
She did fine. The actress did a good job. Okay, I didn't like the character, I should say, not the act. I just didn't like the coldness was irritating me. But she plays it well, and it fits what's happening, and it fits the character, and it comes across with, I don't like my marriage, I don't like my life, I miss the fun, and I made a mistake. Yeah, no, it makes sense. Like everything worked. The actress did a good job. I shouldn't have said that way, but I didn't like the character, and I was just disinterested in the movie at first. Well, that night I knew what I was watching.
You're supposed to like.
You're not, but I'm not okay with that.
What? Why?
Because in a movie, I want the first few characters I see to be characters I like, and I want to like, and then you introduce them a little later.
So, like in TV series, it's different.
I guess I don't know.
What about Succession? You don't like any of those fucking.
No,
characters.
We haven't finished that show, have we?
No, you don't like any of them assholes.
You're not supposed to.
See, okay.
And we stopped watching.
I don't understand him.
But see, just like the Roy family, you're not supposed to like Julia.
See? So what's the difference?
We stopped watching Succession too, didn't we? I just wanted to get to the end.
They annoyed me. So
and then there was one part that I thought was funny in real life because Tiff jumped. This is a woman that likes horror movies. When the guy cuts his hand on the nail, that made you jump. Yeah, other stuff doesn't. You watch a guy get murdered. Oh, okay, and then he jumps.
I was like, I don't like stuff like that. Like it's because that could happen to me. You know, it's stuff that torture. Like, well, it wasn't torture, but stuff like that. Like
it might as well be torture.
But he accidentally did it. Like, I could accidentally slice my hand, and I imagined the pain. So I was like, "Ugh!"
I mean, not to mention the tetanus shot is going to need to come along with that rusted nail, but hey.
And I think that's why that particular bit of gore starting off the movie is so effective, because that is a very relatable thing. Like you just said,
yeah,
it happens.
Yeah.
All the time.
I don't like stuff like that. That's the stuff that makes me jump and cringe. But the rest of the movie, I was like, the flesh being pulled apart and his face falling off, and
it didn't bother you. The hooks bothered me a lot.
No, nothing like that. That's because I knew it was fake.
I knew it was fake too, but I didn't like it.
And I probably saw how it was made. That's why that shit don't scare me.
It scared me. It just bothered me.
And after Larry cuts his hand while moving a mattress, which, ick. He goes up to the attic where Julia's just kind of hanging out. His blood drips on the floor, and out of the floorboards is reborn a very primitive version of Frank. He's just kind of, I don't know, muscly and bony and slimy, and he's come back to life.
Like, I feel like there should have been a lot more blood for that.
There was a lot of fucking blood came out of that hand. I was like, that's too much blood.
Yeah, but to put himself together later, he needed whole goddamn bodies.
Yeah, and he didn't even get a whole lot either out of it.
Yeah, like he didn't even use the whole body.
And so he got a few more than a few drops, and then he was halfway alive.
Well, the movie wouldn't have worked so well if you would have just had, like, she couldn't just bringing people there and just killing them for no reason. Like, oh, well, I think he might be here. Kill.
Yeah, so like a small thing like that. And I don't know, maybe it's something because the brother's blood is so close to his.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, like it's a similar blood. It, will remind whatever vestiges are left of you what it was like to have blood and make you want to be that whole again. To call you out of the ether where you were just pieces and dongs nailed to a plank.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Is that why she tried to kill his daughter? Or she didn't even...
I don't think she liked the daughter in the first place.
But she didn't even really think about that, maybe?
Oh.
No. She was going to kill the daughter 100% at one point, I feel.
Well,
we will get to Kirsty. Oh, boy.
Okay,
I like Kirsty.
I jumped forward.
No. I like Kirsty, too.
Oh, I do, too.
She's pretty.
Like,
She was
Ashley
pretty.
Lawrence, this was, I think, Ashley Lawrence's first role,
I think so as well.
and she killed it.
So she did.
And it's just, Julia finds Frank, and Frank's like, you must feed me, doing Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors.
Julia.
Feed me, Julia.
Bring me back, Julia.
So Julia is still obsessing over the time that she and Frank did the horizontal mambo right before her wedding. I mean, honestly, kind of damn shitty. But, sometimes I guess it'd be like that. And she's unhappy in her marriage to Larry, probably has been for a long time, because, she's just kind of a little bit bitchy at the beginning. But then being so close to Frank's presence kind of reignites this. Oh, man, that was a good time. I wonder whatever happened to him. Well, he's in the attic, and he's not looking great. So she goes around, starts picking up people, start grabbing dudes at the bar to kill him for Frank so he can drain him and become whole.
So you're telling me this was Under the Skin before Under the Skin?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what I was thinking of when I watched this.
Yeah, but at least she had skin.
Yes, but she also, they were stupid. All men are stupid, apparently. I come to the conclusion if some woman meets me at a bar and goes, hey, come on home with me. I'm like, no, I've seen too many horror movies, so I can't.
You totally would.
That's when I put my hand on my
Dick
knife.
would speak for you. Don't even lie. I mean,
Past Mike would have, yes.
divorced Mike would too.
Mike is not divorced, so.
No, but
Otherwise, this might be, I can't go for that. No, can do.
my wife would murder me.
Yes, with a hammer. In the back of the head.
You have to make it look like an accident.
It's a hammer, it won't look like an accident, I'll tell you that. But, yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Because she brings 3 different guys throughout this movie. The first, she's way more reluctant about. Well, way reluctant on the first. The first is kind of by accident. It felt like. Second is more like, okay, I know what I'm doing. The third is like, yeah, come on in, let's go have sex. And then, yeah, I'm gonna kill you with a hammer.
I want to talk about the transformation of Julia.
We should.
It's she starts the movie very cold. Very cold, very reserved, very British, if that makes sense. And as she continues killing, she gets into it. So much so that she and Larry were watching boxing on TV, and he was like, "Are you sure you want to watch this? This used to make you sick." And she's like, "I've seen worse."
And she looked bored, actually. She was like...
And I'll be honest, the first time I saw this movie, I probably wasn't out of elementary school yet.
That's too young to be watching this movie.
It is too young to be watching this movie.
I don't know how old I was, but I probably wasn't very old.
And I remember seeing that first scene where Julia's looking in the mirror after she kills the first guy, and she's just got blood on her face and everything, and the light is, very much right on her face, looking pale, tragic, beautiful. And my brain was like, this is hot as a child. And I think that is probably the cause for a lot of problematic things in my life.
If only your wife was on right now.
Oh, Meeks wouldn't be surprised.
No, I know, and I like to hear what she would say.
I was waiting for, she knows.
Yeah.
I just want to hear her comment. That's what I want to hear.
But, it's interesting because it gives Julia a sense of agency that she didn't have at the beginning of the movie, because now she's making these decisions for herself. She's choosing to live her best life at others' expense, of course. And it's oddly feminist.
Okay.
Yeah, it's empowering, but for all the wrong reasons.
Yes, but it still is.
She's just murdering people. I mean, what's wrong with that?
See, I can murder just like a man.
And
You
better.
can play with it.
Well, I mean, it must have, they weren't looking. I mean, to be fair, society wouldn't look for a missing man as quickly as they look for a missing woman.
Yeah, but I thought she was meeting, they were travelers, were they not? I thought they were like...
Oh,
business-
they might have been travelers.
I thought
Yeah,
they
because she
were-
was going to hotel bars and shit.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Or
so.
they were business travelers.
I mean, eventually people are going to realize they went missing,
Well,
but
yes, but not very quickly.
no, and this is the 80s, so there's less technology compared to now.
Yeah.
Would be like, well, where was his phone? We'll just track that.
Where was he last seen? That would take a while. Where was he last seen?
Yeah, and cameras would have been around the 80s for sure, so.
Yeah, but how
It'd been less, much less than what it is now. So
Yeah, like they're not good cameras. So
Oh, not good camera.
that
Yeah.
vaguely man-shaped blob is going out the door with that vaguely woman-shaped blob.
That could be him. Or this
Or that could be a
baby.
very small, thin man. I'm not sure.
They are all wearing white shirts and ties with a briefcase.
I do like the stuff with Christy a lot. Like you have like the dinner when you're not first introduced, but you have more time with Christy where she meets this random guy that somehow is in this movie for some reason.
Oh, Steve, her boyfriend?
Yeah.
Yeah, but-
Who was her boyfriend before the... Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch that. Well, I guess did she kiss him in the alley with that scene before this dinner?
No, that was after the
Okay.
dinner. That was after she was all drunk and woozy. Or maybe it wasn't her boyfriend before, but after he was.
Yeah, that's how I took it because they were making eyes and they were doing the stuff that you do when you're not dating somebody when you like someone.
I mean, it could just be like, "Ooh, I haven't seen you for a while. Let's go kiss in the alley."
Okay.
I mean, I don't know.
There's two scenes earlier in this movie where she does see that weird guy. She sees him once when she's walking with her boyfriend, and she sees him another time at the pet store when the movie makes sure you notice him when he starts eating the crickets.
Like the
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's basically a vagrant who's just doing weird shit around her.
Yeah,
Like just staring at her or eating handfuls of crickets.
I did like a
or
handful of crickets though.
Just, being... Well, first off, crickets are delicious. I've actually had prepared crickets before.
cover them in chocolate. I might try it.
They actually do have chocolate-covered crickets.
They also have crickets inside those candy bar popsicle things. They're not popsicles, lollipops that one of the stores you go to.
The Asian.
No. The candy store used to have your peanut butter clusters. That doesn't anymore. That you made me that you like to look for. They do, yes. I'm not eating it.
I'm not eating it.
You won't eat it, so don't buy it. I know you.
I'll try it, and then I'll give it to PETA.
PETA will eat it, yes.
PETA, our dog.
The homeless guy is just... It's interesting because it doesn't actually do anything
Till the end.
till the end. But it just seems like he's kind of like, hey, hi, I'm here. They call me Vagrant Steve. Or, no, Steve's her boyfriend. Vagrant Joe. There we go.
I like how she was like, "You gotta pay for those" when he's like eating handfuls of crickets.
I just thought it was just, I'm like, because I had an interesting conversation at this part, because I'm watching this, I'm like, what the fuck pet store has a monkey? And Tiff like, it's the 80s.
It's the 80s. That's
Yeah, everybody had a monkey, dude.
yeah. Those are the OG pet stores.
See, I didn't know that. I wasn't around in 86.
Fuck off.
They had all sorts of shit that's probably illegal now.
Oh yeah, all that. That's why I was like, wait a second. A lot of that's illegal. That was in that store.
I mean, it was probably illegal back then too.
Different time. No internet. I can't imagine life without internet anymore. Oh, but I like the stuff with Christy a lot. I really enjoyed when she was in this movie, just the random parts of her, just kind of being there before she becomes more of the main character near the end of this movie.
Oh, more of one of your famous I
Yes.
love Final Girl moments.
Yeah. I blame Helena. I didn't even know that was a term until she brought it up, and now I keep thinking about like, well, yeah, every horror movie, I didn't like the horror movie, but every time I like something, it's that.
And, Kirsty kind of gets more involved when she sees Julia bringing a dude home. This is dude number 3, I think.
It is, yes.
And Frank's almost altogether back again. So she sees Julia doing this, goes up to the attic, and sees Frank. And
Red
Frank
Bloody Frank.
Yep. Frank Bloody Frank, that famous U2 song. And he's gross to her.
Oh, God, yes.
Like, Frank is trying to get it. He is a shambling mass of muscles and skeletal stuff. He kind of has a face, but no skin. But Homeboy's still trying to get his not yet existent dick wet.
It's already wet.
That's fair.
He's like, come to daddy.
Oh, God. Okay, so I hate the phrase daddy in a sexual contest.
Same.
Like, very much so. And I'm pretty sure this is the movie that did it.
Young Ken was like, no.
Yeah, young Ken was like, oh, no, this is wrong.
No, I don't like it
You
either.
want some story, but you don't like it?
Yeah, we can. My wife will do it to me every so often to irritate me now. But I had a friend who he had a girlfriend I didn't like, and he was telling me one time the first time they were on a bus, and she's like, "Come over here, Daddy." And he just said he looked like, "What the fuck?" And then he barely got used to it. But I'm just like, no.
She always, Daddy, like in public, Daddy.
No.
And I'm like, and they didn't. Some women do it when they have kids. No, they didn't have kids. Like,
No.
My friends do it when they have kids, which I still think is.
It's
weird.
still strange.
It's still weird. Like Daddy.
I'm not kink shaming any listeners out there.
I'm not. We're not kink shaming, I promise.
No kink shame, just not kink same. Because it is definitely not for Ken.
No, it's not.
Well, I mean, whatever you do I just don't like it. I don't like it in public. And that's a lot of things I don't want to see in public. Don't bring that to public.
Well, this was in the privacy of a home.
Yes, but also he was doing it to his niece that he...
Yeah, to his fucking niece.
That's a little bit of that. That's a whole other issue there.
But Kirsty sees this, is understandably freaked out, and grabs the puzzle box and takes off.
Well, he freaks out when she picks it up because he's going to throw it at her, and she realizes that whatever this little thing is, it's important to him.
And why was he going to throw it at her?
Because she was going to throw it at him.
Oh, I see.
She grabs it because she's looking for a weapon, which again makes sense.
Because I was like, I don't remember that part where she was going to throw it.
No,
at her.
she's going to throw it at him. She picks it up, and then his eyes go to it, and she realizes that it's important, and she throws it out the window and then picks it up. But way before this, there's a scene that I want to talk about when you have Frank explains to Julia what happened to him, and he talks about the Cenobites and how they tortured him, and you get some. I think that's more you get him moaning before he's massacred.
Yeah.
So you get a little bit more of him kind of talking about the box and how he was stupid and things like that. So that was kind of I don't know. I just liked having more. I liked having more background. And when he's telling her, he's like, "I gotta hide. They're coming for me."
Yeah, he escaped the Cenobites, which is something you don't do.
Did we ever see how he escaped?
Not in this movie.
The blood called to him. The blood called to him.
Oh, like the blood on his brother's blood?
Yeah, Larry's blood on the floor brought him back.
Oh, okay.
And that's why I think the familial connection kind of meant something. It seemed like a tether to this world.
Okay.
I'm probably reading too much into it.
No, I don't think you are, actually. I think that's what they were going for. Because also there's another point where he really wants to kill his brother before he does in the end of the movie. Like, there's a part where he's like, "Julia, bring him in here. No, he's about to fucking murder him while they're having sex."
Yeah. Oh, that scene. Woof. Yeah, we haven't even touched on the voyeurism of this movie.
No, I forget. Julia does it to distract Larry because of Frank. Oh, yeah, because Frank's punching walls upstairs for some stupid reason in the attic, and he's like, "What is that?" And there's nothing to distract a guy like, "Hey, let's go fuck." Okay, you got it. What was going on? Who cares? Sex.
Yeah, and I think that's how you can tell that Julia does care about Larry. Because she tries to save him.
Yeah.
And I think she's genuinely upset when...
Gets skinned a lot. Gets skinned? Yeah.
I mean, for like a half a second.
She ain't very upset later.
No, like I said, for like a half a second she is. She's and then she gets over it.
It's like, oh, I get the guy I really want, but with my husband's skin, so it's okay socially.
And apparently with her husband's voice as well. I don't know how that works.
Took out the voice box and put it in aisle.
Well, see, vocal cords probably... No, never mind.
It wasn't working out.
No, I'm not sure. Well, okay. The real reason why is because Andrew Robinson played Larry and Frank Larry. And, props to Andrew Robinson because he did a good job. Like, Larry, you kind of like, oh, man, this dude's he's a sweet guy. He's kind of a moron, but he's a sweet guy.
Yeah.
And when he's playing Frank inside his body, completely different.
No, he did a good job.
He did a really good job.
Yeah.
I was like, well, he didn't do a good job attaching that skin, though.
It wasn't meant to be.
But nobody noticed he was, bleeding on the edges of his face.
Julia noticed for sure.
And it was, dripping on his shirt.
Well, Christy was out of it. Christy just got taken to a hospital, opened up a portal to hell, and she wasn't okay.
Yeah, and then she got chased by the engineer, which is gross. That's what that monster is called, by the way, the engineer.
I think it's called the engineer.
Which one is that?
The one in the hallway when you said, "Look, cleaners!" from Labyrinth Joke.
I did.
I think, I want to say, because in the book, the engineer is the leader of the Order of the Gash. And the Order of the Gash is the group that the Hell Priest and all the other Cenobites belong to.
Wow, you were really prepared.
He said he's seen all the movies.
I think I've only seen till 3, and I don't remember them at all.
Look, I love the world of HellRaiser. I do.
Like, when a series gets more than 3, I'm like, I'm out. I can't follow it, I'm out.
And I think in the movies, the engineer was meant to have made the labyrinth, which doesn't really come into effect until HellRaiser 2.
So you mean he used the babe with the power? The power of the babe?
I told you the cleaners!
Voodoo?
The cleaners, they had the cleaners. Now my joke hits reference.
I mean, pretty much, yes.
When you say Labyrinth, that's what came in my head. I was talking about Hellraiser 2. I was like, well, that movie, yeah. Labyrinth came out a little bit after this, yeah, or right before this.
Well, see, labyrinth is also a word for a maze, which is older than the movie.
Yeah. Oh, but there was one thing that made me laugh, and I don't know why this popped in my head, but the part when Christy has the box, she's leaving, her shirt has a bunch of blood on it, and she passes out, and you have the 3 faces above her looking down, and for some reason my brain went to an NWA cover. I don't know why. It did. There's an NWA cover where their faces are looking down at something. It's a famous cover. Yeah, that's
the cover straight out of Compton.
Yeah, and that's what went through my head. I mean, again, I don't listen to music. I know, like it's not like, but it's referenced a lot because it's a highly known image that's been memed and other stuff.
I had to, for some reason, my brain didn't clink on what you were meaning.
And that's what. One, the guy had a New Year Yankees hat. One of the 3 guys is looking at her, or 3 people looking at her. It was 2 guys and 1 woman. I was just like, I don't know. That's what in my head.
Yeah, it is a famous cover, but I don't know any of it. I know nothing about their history.
No, I know more now. I watched the movie.
Straight out of Compton, yeah.
Yes. But I liked it when she's in the hospital. I thought it was funny that I figured she would have been tied to the bed, but then the scene wouldn't have worked they had coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Because, technically, she was essentially wanted for questioning by the police. So I liked that. I thought, and then she starts playing with a fucking puzzle box. Like, why are you playing with this box?
Well, she doesn't know.
Yeah, but it came from a guy that looked like he was a freaking demon. Like, maybe you shouldn't play with the item.
Okay, random question I probably should have asked before. What did Frank buy it for that the guy told him it did? Pleasures beyond pleasures?
Yeah, like okay. Frank is looking like he had reached the end of his pleasure-seeking cycle. Like, he's experienced so much but at this point that he's just like, well, there's nothing else out there. So he starts
without getting arrested.
Yeah, like he starts hearing these rumors about, oh, there's this, thing you can buy that will bring you to a realm of just untold pleasures. And yeah, it does.
I was just wondering. I had to clarify that, okay?
No, that's absolutely fair. And the interesting thing about that scene was after Frank hands over the money and takes the puzzle box, the dude is immediately like, it was always yours.
It's also the same dude in the end of the movie, too.
Yep.
What, the homeless dude?
No, the guy that has the box is sitting. And the very last scene of this movie is the box sitting again on the table and him selling it to some other idiot.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Of course. It's like the Gremlins.
I need to watch those again. I've never seen the second one and haven't seen the first one in years. But
I like it.
Isn't that a Christmas movie?
Yes.
Okay. It's like this argument is like Die Hard.
Yes.
Okay, you know what? No, I'm stopping this now. This will go down a road that we don't want to go to, and we're talking about HellRaiser. We're talking about HellRaiser.
Okay, sorry. So Christy is opening the box, but I wonder what she thought it would do. Like you said,
I think it was
Mike
just
said it was in the hands
she didn't know what else to do in a room.
Yeah, she was just fucking around with it. Why does Frank like this so much? What does it do?
Maybe it saves me.
I did something all right. Well, I got her out of there, kind of.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that would put her on the Cenobites' radar.
The naughty list?
Yeah, because when she goes down that hallway and she gets chased by the engineer, it looks fucking weird looking thing.
Yeah.
Was that supposed to be a dick hanging from the top of his body?
I have no idea. You never get a good enough picture of the engineer to kind of really, at least in this movie, you never get a good enough picture. But after the engineer, she encounters the Cenobites.
Yeah, and that's when they, have their sights set on her, and then they're like, yeah, we're going to kill you.
There's so many good quotes in this scene, too. Oh, man, because this is where they, Pinhead actually says, demons to some, angels to others. It does the whole Pinhead thing.
Yeah.
And, like, it's so many iconic lines that are just tied to the HellRaiser franchise come from this scene.
Which
and
I never knew.
I'm not a huge fan of just exposition dumps. I'm really not. But, this one worked.
I felt bad for Christy in this scene when they're like, I'm like, oh, she didn't deserve this. She just is a curious woman trapped in a hospital and bored, so I started playing with the box.
No, she's panicked.
Yeah.
She's not curious.
Okay, fine.
I would say she's panicked.
Panic's probably the right word. Yeah.
She's trying to figure out how to get herself out of this, and I don't know why she thought a box would save her, but...
Because it was important to the demon guy.
Okay.
But I felt bad for her when they're like, yeah, we're going to kill you now. Like, you're on, And I like how she rats on Frank.
Oh, yeah. Quick thinking.
I love that, too. She's like, well, what about this guy?
Frank's here.
Normally, I am very much team no snitching, but...
I would 100% snitch if those guys showed up.
Yeah, like this had to happen.
I like how they're not happy. They're like, if you lied to us, you're screwed.
I don't know. If he didn't torture me, I might be like, hey, Daddy. If he was nice to me, like, didn't rip the flesh from my body.
I think that's what happens either way.
I know, but I'm just saying, if there's a different scenario where he...
I don't think that.
But this is also where you get that line, will tear your soul apart. Like a very iconic HellRaiser line. We have such sights to show you also in this sequence. Like, there is so much HellRaiser, like, overarching things that come from this one little chunk of the movie.
And only Ken would know.
Mm-hmm.
Only Keith.
Oh, come on. Not only me, like...
I know.
Only you out of us three.
Like, this movie has a fandom that is beyond anything I can come up with. Like, they're nuts.
I'm a little surprised because I never hear much talk about HellRaiser, but then again, I don't go in those circles.
Right. Super.
Because you met Doug Bradley. He was one of the first signatures you got on that poster.
He was so tall. Those actors are usually so tall. He was super nice. Very quiet, but super nice.
I believe that. He seems like an alright dude.
It kind of makes sense that he's quiet too, like he likes.
And while Christy's in the hospital, this is when you have Larry comes home and Julia's like, why don't you go upstairs? Larry got something to show you.
And Larry stupidly follows her.
As a man would, yes. Only certain things you got to say to some men. Hey, let's go have sex. All right, strange woman. Let's go to your house. Let's go to the attic. Whatever you want. What's that hammer in your hand, huh?
To hit that.
But then, of course, this is where Larry exits the picture. That is a picture wrap on Larry. Thanks for playing along, bud. You never had a shot, really. You never had a chance. Sorry, bud.
And this is when Christy finally gets home and then she sees Larry. I put in quotations on here. Because again, I knew that wasn't Larry. I'm like, there is no way. And then she's talking about Frank, and he's like, I killed him. And I guess this is when she sees the attic and she sees the bloody husk there. I think this is also when the Cenobites show up and say, we want the man who did this.
Later.
And she's like, not my father. Not my father.
Oh, wait, no, that is where.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pinhead shows up in the attic and she gets all, because she doesn't realize yet that her father isn't her father, that it's Frank.
Yeah. And this... Yeah, like you said, this is where they're like, we want the man who did this, because the Cenobites know that ain't Frank.
Yeah.
They know Frank's body. They're intimately acquainted with Frank's body. And that ain't Frank.
And you think, like, the way I kind of took it, like, you should notice something's wrong when your father has blood, but I guess at the same time, you're stressed. It's a traumatic it's a situation your brain not prepared for. I'm going to assume she's on some drugs as she was in the hospital, so they put her on something. I mean, they're going to.
And she just, had an encounter with the Cenobites in the hospital, and she shows up and they're in the attic, and she's like, oh, God damn it.
But I like it. It's how he says, come to daddy. And she's like, wait a second, you freak.
Frank can't keep it in his pants long and goddamn enough. If he never would have said that, she would have just been like, wow, Dad's acting weird. But no, because he has to be like, come to daddy.
And it's the way the actor says it, too. It's not like, a father saying it to a dog, come to daddy. It was like, come to daddy. Mm-hmm. Like,
and now it's not just an uncle wants to sleep with his niece, it's a dad wants to sleep with
his uncle was the dad's face want to sleep with the niece, yes.
Oh, God. Like, okay, so it's a really crappy thing that some people say, but when people are like, I wouldn't fuck so-and-so with, this person's dick, this is probably what they're talking about. Except Frank would fuck Kirsty with Larry's dick.
I'm pretty sure he would fuck Kirsty with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Work.
Yeah. Like, this movie
really
is
turned
just,
on by killing people, too, I think. Because he
Fuck
kills
yeah.
Julia by accident.
Yeah,
But he's
my
not
ass.
upset when he does it. He stabs her by accident trying to go for Kirsty. He's like, oh, well, I'll just murder you and drain your blood instead. It's all right.
That sucks. I'm throwing you away for a newer model. Hey, Kirsty, come to daddy.
Might as well make it worth it and get part of my body.
I just thought it was just weird. Like, why are you, like, I thought, because he just stabbed her. I mean, not that. It's a fucking butterfly knife, I think. You can pull it back out. You might be okay. He's like, oh, we'll make sure you're dead. We'll stab a little deeper and a little bit more. And,
Turn it.
like, I was like, he's a manipulator and a user. And they wanted to make sure you knew.
And the betrayal on her face was so...
I didn't feel that, but yes.
I did.
I did a little bit because she was fully committed to this man, and
He manipulated her and betrayed her and murdered her and then drained her blood.
I mean, I don't know if I would be fully committed to a man that wasn't even a man yet.
Just muscles and someone else here.
I think the
And
whole
my
thing
face?
that he was just like dripping the whole time, like blood and whatever.
Well, I don't think the Cenobites gave him a lot of flesh to work with when they were done.
No.
That's what grosses me out. That, not the flesh tearing. That.
And you have Kirsty runs, and I thought she was going to go straight to the attic, but I guess they need the movie to last a little bit longer to keep the tension up. So she runs in the spare bedroom where you find out where all the bodies have been going to.
Yeah, how do you fucking hide that, by the way?
You can't. I mean,
They start to
bringing up
smell.
a real life story, like the Jeffrey Dahmer story, he melted bodies, and they smelled them throughout the entire building. Like, the house would reek like that. And these weren't well contained. I mean, you see the one has maggots everywhere. Like, the house would smell so fucking bad.
Okay, but here's a thought. What if Frank has drained them so much that they're like jerky at this point?
Okay.
Like, I'm not sure. I don't know how human skin turns into jerky. I'm from Wisconsin, but I'm not that kind of from Wisconsin.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure, I'm sure that if I Google the answer, I'm not going to, I might get on a radar that I don't want to be on. But I'm sure that, that question is on Google because of just the way people have died in general. They can tell you. Like, that's more mummification, though, I want to say.
I mean, you could Google, what's it called? They have decompensation, like, where they study the bodies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Body Farm.
Body farm, yes. No, yeah, body farm. You could study a body farm and not be on radars. What?
I don't know what a body farm is.
It's where they study how they decompose.
Oh.
Like, people actually study that.
Yeah, they put bodies in different conditions, different types of bugs, indoors, outdoors, and they study how the body decomposes so that they're able to put together more information on when they just find random bodies. All right, what likely happened here?
And how long they've been dead, and...
But I got to give her credit that she found a room that he would never go into again and was able to hide 3 bodies in there. So, hey.
Yeah.
And nobody smelt it.
And he never went in the room.
Yeah, I don't know how you don't go into rooms in your house, but all right.
If you have a big enough house, I think that happens.
But it didn't seem like it had that many rooms.
Yeah.
It looks big on the outside when you see it a couple times.
Oh, our house looks... And so does... What's her name's? Nikki's house looks huge.
Okay. All right, fine. And then I like when Kirsty leads Frank to the attic and the Cenobites first show up and he's like, "You bitch!" I just started laughing the way he said it. You tricked me. It's like, you dumb fuck. Like, you think she's gonna help you? You're just like, come to daddy. I got your dad's face and I'm gonna fuck you. Like, come on now. And murder you. You expect her not to turn you in? Like, come on now. You deserved it. It's not like you were nice to her.
I do like what the Cenobites said to Kirsty, though, where they're like, "This isn't for your eyes."
Right.
But she doesn't leave.
I mean, she does, but...
Not at first. She watches the guy get hooked. I want her. I'm like, okay, you leave right now. I don't want to see this next scene either, Kirsty. And I had to see this guy get hooks put into him, which I was like,
I already saw that, though.
This is a lot worse. Okay, in the early scene, you see a hook go into flesh. You see 1 hook or 2 hooks. Here, you see hooks around his entire body, and then they pull. And he goes splat, and I'm like, "Meh!" You know.
Why did they say this is not for your eyes? They were just about to drag her to hell and torture the shit out of her. Like
That would be for her eyes.
that to me. That was like, hey, that's the Cenobites letting her off.
So
Like,
they
all right.
want her to watch what she almost experienced.
I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But it was weird. It was like almost like an adult. Well, it was an adult telling a child, "You don't want to see this," but it was weird coming from this monster that was gonna torture her, telling her, "No, look away." It was just weird to me. I got weird feelings from it.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, like, well, they are going to torture her. They want to keep some surprises, maybe.
Oh, is that what it was?
That
And-
could be.
I
Oh, it
thought
could be.
she was gonna be off the hook because she turned in Frank, but they're still coming after her after this part.
Oh yeah.
So she was like, "Oh, yeah, you turned in Frank, but we're still gonna kill you because you activated the box."
Wait a minute. You said, bitch. I said maybe.
I did like how she keeps like putting together the box, and that warps them all back to hell. Like she does it to Pinhead, she does it to Deep Throat.
And she doesn't even know what she's doing. She's just like pressing pieces.
I mean, her options were
Yeah.
either go to hell and get tortured, or mess
fuck
with the
around
box.
with the box.
So I choose option B: fuck with the box.
I'd just be like, I don't know how to do puzzles. What am I doing?
I did like how every monster shows up though in this that she has to do it to. Like I thought that was a cool way to bring back everything from the movie throughout the movie so far.
And, once the Cenobites are all dealt with, Deep Throat, Pinhead, Chatterer, all go back. Butterball just gets a lot of shit dropped on him.
Yeah, because the house is collapsing. The engineer shows up too
Yep.
when they try to leave because she's
Engineer
essentially kind of
shows
in a hell dimension. It felt like almost in a way. Well, she's in her house, but I felt like she was still the portal to hell was open at the time.
Halfway there.
Yeah, like they had control of what was going on to a degree.
So they decided to drop a house on
Well, who cares about Butterball?
Well, I mean, it worked for a wish, so probably worked for a fat guy.
I like how her boyfriend shows up and he should be more freaked out than he is, I felt. I mean, if I was just watching my girlfriend kick some fucking monster in the face that has a scorpion dick tail coming out of his back, I'd be like, I just don't know.
He only knows that because I showed him a picture. That's the way he only knows that. Because I Googled it.
But it was just fucking weird.
And, the movie's pretty much over at this point. Like, they've made it out, Kirsty's got the puzzle box, and then they just go to a random field that has fires burning, like you do. And she chucks the puzzle box away to get rid of it. There.
Isn't the puzzle box metal? Is it really wood?
It's wood with brass.
Oh, okay. Then I thought it was metal too.
Oh,
Yeah.
But wood with brass makes sense to burn.
Wood with brass accents.
That would burn. And she would know because she's touching it.
Yeah.
It looked metal.
I mean, we weren't touching it, thank God. So.
Now I want a replica.
Oh, there are so many replicas.
Of course there
I have a Rubik's Cube replica.
Oh.
Like, it's ridiculous.
Go to Etsy. I bet I can find a little.
Oh, you can, I promise. But after Kirsty throws the box in the fire, it's Vagrant Joe come back.
I like this.
He reaches into the fire, grabs the puzzle box while catching on fire.
Yeah, and I didn't remember what you were talking about, but once you said he catches on fire.
It completely catches on fire.
I'm like, oh yeah, completely. And I'm like, what is the point of him completely catching on fire?
Because then he turned into a bone dragon
Oh.
and flies off.
Now, I think we can assume this is some kind of a demon, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
He was a bone dragon. That's what I'm going to say.
oh, why you have to say it like that?
Because bone saw.
Pinhead, you got 3 minutes with me.
Okay.
Randy Savage. Macho Man.
Spider-Man,
Yeah, that too.
Oh, no.
the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie.
We'll change it.
Anyway, the bone dragon flies off with the box. The box ends up back with the man from the beginning who is selling it to another poor sap, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And the cycle repeats ad nauseum. And that's HellRaiser.
And are all the movies just continuation then? Like, do they all just keeps going? I mean,
HellRaiser 2 is a direct continuation of this movie. Like, it starts a little bit after the end of this movie.
okay.
Like, Kirsty and Steve are going to the hospital to get checked out after that fight.
Oh, is that quickly?
Yeah, like immediately afterwards,
Okay, now
which
we
is,
watch that because I kind of like the.
I think you should cover HellRaiser 2 Hellbound.
Let's do that.
Sure.
It's a damn good movie.
I don't trust that, but okay. I'll watch it anyway. It's on streaming. I don't have to buy it, so that's okay. Or rent it.
Maybe we should just buy the complete collection because at one point or another we're going to be covering most of them.
Actually, I was hoping that we were going to do this episode later in the month so that I could say I had this, but at the time of recording, I have not received it yet. Arrow Video over in England is putting out a 4-volume or a 4-movie collection of the Hellraisers in 4K. The original Hellraiser, of course, Hellraiser 2 Hellbound, Hellraiser 3 Hell on Earth, and Hellraiser 4 Bloodlines. And
those are the most important ones. No.
All the movies are important in their own way, I believe.
I can't believe there's 11 of these fuckers.
Oh, yeah. And they are of all varying quality.
Well, of course they are. Like, that's any horror franchise. Like,
why are we buying this?
That's your choice.
Yeah.
There's $10 for the first 6 movies, I think it is, on DVD.
Yeah, and those are worth it. 7 is Hellraiser 7. I think, is that Deader?
You don't ask me.
I think it's
yourself.
Deader. Hellraiser 8 is called Hellworld. It's a video game that's based on Hellraiser, and the Cenobites are coming out through that. Hellraiser 9, I think, is the most interesting one because that's the first Hellraiser movie without Doug Bradley. It's called Hellraiser Revelations.
I've heard of these movies over the years. Like, I remember going to Blockbuster. Remember those things? And I would see the Hellraiser movies and go, nope, 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 and just stay away from the horror section. But for some people, yes. But, so I mean, I was always, like, aware of these movies existing, but I never... It was never a horror movie that I thought of. When I finally got into horror movies, like, when I was trying to watch horror movies, I didn't get into them. There was a Nightmare on Elm Street and rented those 5. At the time.
Is that why you're okay with it?
I think so, yes. I'm more okay with them than other stuff. Well, and then they get goofy.
I was going to say they get campy.
Oh, God, yes. 5 is campy. 5 is the TV, I think we talked about, too. Yeah, so that's when it gets real. That's when I was done. I remember I saw TV for Freddy, and I was like, I'm done. I never went back.
That's fair.
I do want to watch them all now, but yes.
How do you think Mike, like, a few years ago would have reacted to this movie?
He wouldn't have liked it.
He still didn't like it today.
No, I don't. I still didn't enjoy this movie.
I feel like you appreciated it more than you would have, though.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's completely fair.
Like before you were married to Tiffany.
I wouldn't have watched this before I was married to Tiffany. Let's just put that there. But no, I appreciated it more. I mean, it did a lot of gore, especially for an 87 movie. Like, they really went into blood and gore in this movie.
They really did. And you can see why this movie had to be cut down a lot.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, there's never been a full version of this movie, like with all the deleted scenes that had to be cut out.
That's also because of the time. I mean, there wasn't a way that wasn't something you could just include. You couldn't just be like, we're now going to release the unrated cut in theaters.
Well,
but I don't think those scenes exist anymore. No,
but was 87 the big was VHS big in that time?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. But also, like, there just wasn't, I mean, that was all physical media, it wasn't digital. Like, it just didn't just take up files on a computer on your hundreds of hard drives you have sitting around. Like, it's a different time. Plus, they didn't respect, I think in the 80s, they still didn't respect stuff like that. Like, we don't need this. We're never going to use it again.
I was going to say, do you think they just trashed it?
Yeah. And not like today where you keep shit. You're like, we can use this in some form. Or people want to know. It's more archived now.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that they just chucked them.
Yeah. I think so too. I mean, I feel like that was very much what you would have done in the 80s. I mean, 70s, 60s. Hell, even today, you have games that, like, for game-wise stuff, you have stuff that, like, from the 90s to 2000, even 2000, we threw that away. We did not keep that code. Like,
oh, yeah.
That happened.
I almost forgot. Speaking of games, this was almost a game on the NES.
Why?
I don't think it would. I wish they would make one now. That would be hell.
Now would be fine.
Not on any. That would be stupid.
But, okay, there was a company back in the day called Color Dream. And Color Dreams did a lot of making unlicensed Nintendo games. Like, they would make their own cartridges, and they would not go through Nintendo's approval process just to make the games that they wanted to make. And one of those games that they were trying to make was HellRaiser. And it's one of the most depressing things because most of all they have ads, they have a title frame screen, and that's about it.
That's too bad.
Like there is not much left of this. They got as far as, making a special cartridge for it because it was going to be a big game. And like they had spent a lot of money on the rights. They were using supposedly a version of the Wolfenstein 3D engine to make it. They were making, like I said, a new type of cartridge that actually interfered with the operation of the NES so that it could do things like manipulating video output in real time, switching colors in real time, increasing the effective numbers of color on screen, panning and zooming during gameplay. Like it was doing some amazing things with the NES, but it was extremely expensive. And eventually it was just like, no, we can't do it, because this was during the time when Nintendo was being ultra litigious on unlicensed console cartridges.
Like was this near the end of the NES era?
Kinda. Like it was approaching the end of the NES toward the beginning of the SNES. Retailers were afraid to sell unlicensed games, and if retailers won't sell you, you're pretty much dead in the water.
Yeah, because there wasn't like other sources at that time, so like
right.
For now, it wouldn't matter.
And it was in 1990 that this was happening.
That's kind of cool. I never knew that was even a thing, because, I mean, you had the Nightmare on Elm Street NES game, you had the Friday the 13th NES game, which we covered on this podcast many, many, many moons ago.
Covered the what?
The Friday the 13th NES game. It was Bill Tucker's first episode on the show when me and him first met.
Does, I don't know, Halloween have it?
No, Halloween didn't have an NES game.
Halloween had an Atari game.
I was going to say, does it have a game?
Oh, I didn't know.
An Atari game?
I think so.
What does that look like? How does that go?
I don't know. It's Atari. Its blob moves this way and other blobs are there. Like, Atari, you use your imagination. I'm not a fan of Atari 2600 or any of those systems. Fong's fine. There's some are fine. I played Atari 2600, but that's a long time ago. No, my only real experience with Atari games is when for PS1, they had a collection of like a bunch of Atari games on a PS1 disc. My dad's like, "Oh, you should buy this, or we should buy this for you," you should say. And he did, and we played it off and on. So that's my only real experience.
Yep. It was the Atari that got the Halloween.
That was a thing.
They don't have any like recent. I thought they had an updated one.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure you can play as him in Dead by Daylight.
You can, for sure.
Oh, that's what I was saying.
He's in there, yeah.
Yeah.
Is Pinhead in there? I don't think so.
I feel like probably.
If only Milk was around could hear this call, she would know for sure.
Nah.
She loves Dead by Daylight, but I don't think I don't think Pinhead's in HellRaiser, or not HellRaiser. Pinhead's in Dead by Daylight. We're going to find out right now.
Pinhead is definitely in HellRaiser.
Yep, Pinhead is definitely in Dead by Daylight.
Okay, that's cool. Dead by Daylight's cool. I don't like it, but it's a cool game.
But in further movies in the series, you start to find out more about Pinhead, who Pinhead was. Pinhead was a man named Elliot Spencer who opened the box. Find out more about the box itself, the Lament configuration that was made by a toy maker named Le Marchand. You find out there's a lot of lore in this universe, and some of it is really interesting. Some of it is less interesting.
And he's one of the harder killers to use in Dead by Daylight 2, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, his rating is very hard. These killers require a high amount of practice and understanding. Inexperienced players are likely to find little success when using them. There you go.
Well, dang.
Dead by Daylight is like that, though. All the killers are very different, so depending on... Some are easier to play as, some are more intricate. I mean, depending on what you want. People love that game, so Milk loves that freaking game.
I've never really spent a lot of time with it.
It's multiplayer. That's an issue for me.
Oh, that's why. Because I hate
it's all multiplayer. It's just a 4v1 game where one person is the killer and 4 people are just survivors trying to get the generators up and get out. That's it. So it's not completely online. I played a little bit with some friends of mine, and then they got mad, and then we stopped playing. And I just can't do online games. So, yeah. All right, should we go to Shelf Stacker Box?
I'd say so.
Tiffany, why don't you go first?
I'll probably do Stack, because I have fond memories of it with my dad. I haven't seen that a lot lately.
Yeah, that's fine. You were watching nice, good family-friendly movies while you were growing up, Tiff, with your dad. I mean, this is a good family-friendly movie.
It is. He was educating me on the amazing movies that were out there that he and made me the woman I am today.
I'll go next. I'm putting this in the box. What? It's fine, but I don't ever want to see it again. So, yeah, I don't have a whole lot. It's not a bad movie. It's not a Mike movie.
You need a divorce.
So, it's going in the box. What about you, Ken?
Oh, it's absolutely going on the shelf for me. Like, I don't think anybody listening to me would be surprised. I've read a lot about this movie. I've, read studies and I've talked about this movie in classes. Like, I've gone on deep dives on this movie, on all the movies in the series. I love the series. I like the lore. I like the actors. They're not all great movies, but they're all interesting.
Okay. And I'm willing to watch more. I'm willing to see. I mean, I wasn't disgusted and I wasn't bored. I just didn't like it. But I think it's a little harsh, Max. Still going to box. But okay. So that brings us our HellRaiser conversation. If you like this, download it a lot, and I'll be more compelled to go back to HellRaiser 2. But who knows? It might just happen anyway.
I'm just gonna watch it anyway.
Especially if it's on that.
It does not have to be for Spooktober.
No, I know. Just other stuff I can do that's not Spooktober. So.
Look, everybody, this is your pal Kenneth Sanity here telling you, reach out on the social medias. We have a lot of social media presence at Games My Mom Found. Reach out and tell Mike you want more HellRaiser. I want him to do the whole damn series.
Tell him you want more horror movies in general, because that and HellRaiser. I'm down to do the HellRaiser series. I'm down. Her dog is screaming.
Oh, right. And if you enjoyed this episode, there are 500 other episodes of Games My Mom Found. You find everything we do on Podbean. You can join our Discord and bug me to do other movies like this one, like the sequels to this. Go join our Discord. There's a link in the show notes. If you want to support the show, we do have a Patreon. You can vote in our Patreon poll for as little as $1 a month. We have polls every month. Right now, it's horror movies that Mike hasn't seen again. So the third time I'm doing this because spooky. So definitely go check that out. And want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro courtesy of Helena at Hell Hatsphere. You can follow her on TikTok. You see in the show notes her link tree, so definitely go check out all her socials. Give a shout out to my buddy Bill Tucker, started his own podcast, Gamer Looks at 40. Definitely go check him out also. And also, newest thing I want to mention is check out Nomads of Fantasy. I was also on their show recently around this time you're hearing this, talking about They Live. So definitely go give them a listen too. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, and YouTube. Audio only, but we are on YouTube. I think that's everything I need to say, so we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
So long, y'all.